I honestly thought I'd have a water birth. I honestly thought I'd be in the pool doing what all the mums on Instagram do. My husband was like, what? Is that a thing? Can you do that? Absolutely went, wowzers. A beautiful labour. Can you say that? Do I put this in this video? I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to keep that in. They gave me paracetamol though. Oh, friends, it's freezing. Hello, wonderful people. Ignore my lack of cover on the cushion there. Forgot about that. We're leaving it. We're grooving on. Anyway, today we are talking about labour. I'm excited. I don't want to be too excited because when I'm too excited about something, I don't have any coherent thoughts. My brain is a complete scrambled egg. So we're going to take a step back, slow down, take a deep breath and talk to you today about my labour stories. Today, specifically, labour in the belly, labour in the back, the difference between my first and my second. Wow, so different. Things to help labour, things that were super helpful for me, things that weren't super helpful for me. All the juice. If you want to know, stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm also going to be chatting through how to help yourself in the back. See what I mean? Are there any coherent thoughts? Hopefully. Otherwise, what am I doing? How you can help yourself when you're having belly labour. And by belly labour, I just mean contractions are all in the front. They're in the front of the stomach, in the lower abdominal area, and you're not really feeling it all in your back and your lower back. I thought all labour was in the back with my first because that was my experience. And then when I had my second, I was like, wowzers, this feels good. So not good, like the opposite of good. But in comparison to my back labour, my goodness gracious me, it was a complete different story. I sort of half a little tiny wincy bit strange part of me enjoyed labour when I had belly labour. Now, every labour, every birth, every mum is so different how they experience labour. Some have really traumatic births. If that is you, I'm so sorry. I don't know how you made it through, honestly. I'm so encouraged actually when I hear stories of mums that went through like such severe pain, and also my heart like almost breaks because I think that sounds horrible and completely traumatizing. Would I ever have a child again? I don't know. Thankfully, I haven't had great trauma. This is positive. This is a positive birth story both ways. Everything was pretty much good. I had some issues with my firstborn post-birth with some postpartum blood loss. Other than that, we're talking positive. So do stick around. They are positive. And I'm sharing the juice on what helps, what doesn't help, and how you can help yourself as a mama, how you can get other people to help you. So a bit of backstory. My firstborn was a very different experience. Basically, I was 40 weeks pregnant plus a few days. Was on rolling around on my birthing ball, doing some cool little moves, watching Grey's Anatomy, having a lovely time. Knew something was slightly off. Knew something was happening. My husband and I were eating pizza a few minutes before and I kind of felt something. I was like, oh, I kind of need to just get a bit low. I need to just sort of squat for a minute. Once that was over, that's when I watched Grey's Anatomy, tried to relax, put on some candles, because I thought if this is happening, I want it to be calm. And a slow progression is what I thought would happen, but little did I know. So, a few minutes later comes my waters come gushing. Okay, wait, preface. TMI video. There you go, that's all I need to say. The waters came gushing. Absolutely went full on, popped. Waters came gushing out. Immediate, dramatic pain. I didn't expect such pain. Now, obviously, it was like, the pain of labour is painful, right? It can be, it's very different for every person. For my first, I don't know why I'm starting with the slightly tougher birth first, because I feel like I should ease you in a little bit, but I felt immediate pain all in my back. Looking back, it was all in my back, my lower back. Pain all the way through. I was told, we took an NCT course, we took little the classes here and there and spoke to lots of mums, and I thought labour starts and slowly progresses and gets worse up to the point of pushing. That's the sort of climax of the whole thing, and then the baby comes out. My labour with my first started with like immediate pain, went all the way through to the actual pushing. Did not change, did not increase, did not decrease, just pain, like throwing up pain. Not nice, not really enjoyable, and I wasn't really expecting it. I couldn't hack the car journey. I was definitely being a little bit of an illegal passenger, in the back, everywhere, here, there and everywhere. Couldn't sit still, sort of thing. Arrived at the hospital, again, like kept throwing up, kept just doing these like horrendous things and feeling so weird about it. However, I would say there were a few things that did help. I did hold a little comb, and I was pressing that so hard into my hands it was almost distracting me from the pain, because I think when you're in the height of pain you either go like fight or flight, don't you? And I was kind of in for a bit of a fight almost. So I was like, okay, I need to make this pain work. I've been told that moving around lots really works for labour. I've been told that water really works for labour. So I took that advice with my first. However, that did not work for me at all, not in the least. I got in the bath at the hospital when we arrived. It was like, oh, no thank you, not good for me at all. Got in, got like moving around, tried to do some slow movements. I'm a dancer. I've been a dancer for many years until having kids. And so like I thought movement, slow movement, elegant kind of yoga, breathing through it would be this amazing thing for me during birth. Absolutely not. I could not have wanted to be more still if I tried. Like I literally was pushing on the back, pushing on my husband's hands. And he was just holding me, and I was like, there is no way I am moving. Like, you cannot move me if you tried. However, they did want to do some monitoring of the baby, monitoring around the belly and things like that, because they were nervous about the heartbeat. So fine, I let them do that. They wheeled me into another room. Kind of a bit of a fast forward, because that sort of went on for a few hours. All the while, everything's well, you know, nothing is going drastically wrong. I'm just in pain, and it's good to be in pain sometimes to learn how to manage it, and you really get to know yourself. So I don't want this to be like a negative talk on this labour. It was just more intense. I just felt it so differently, and I think it's a picture of like, follow what your body needs in that moment. Just because you've been told that you need to go and lay in the water, it's this little distracting instrument here. Just because you've been told you need to go and lay in the water, or have a bouncy ball and do all the movement stuff, or give birth standing up, whatever you've been told, you do what your body needs in that moment, because you will know. And I think it was confusing for me, and I was trying to manage this pain, but also manage like, why am I not responding to all these like pain relief things that these people have been throwing at me for so long? Like, why am I just completely bizarre? Do I just need to have an epidural and get through this? And long story short, I actually didn't consider an epidural throughout this whole process. I think I just had it in my mind that wasn't gonna be a thing. And so I just sort of carried on, and looking back, like, I think an epidural would have definitely helped. Maybe have slowed down things quite a bit, but it's really hard to know, isn't it? I ended up not having an epidural. I continued through this intense pain. They gave me paracetamol though. Come on. I actually kind of giggled when she offered me paracetamol. I was like, what? Paracetamol doesn't even take a headache from me. Never mind labour. My midwife was lovely. She was so nice. I loved my midwife so much, so I'm not saying anything negative about them. They were amazing. Yes, so I've taken the paracetamol. I did end up taking it. I'm really still. They're monitoring the baby. And then when it came time to push, which was probably, I don't know, like 6 hours later, I said, I didn't even know this was a thing. I said, get me a stool. I need to sit down and push out the baby. And my husband was like, what? Is that a thing? Can you do that? She said, I've got the perfect thing, a birthing stool. And I was like, I don't even know what it is, but get it. I need to sit down, I need to be still, and I need to pop the baby out. So she goes to get this thing. And it was perfect. It was everything I could possibly need in giving birth. And I used it second time round and would absolutely recommend. And people haven't really heard of this thing before. It's a thing that they have in the hospital. Like, get it. Like, if I would love a home birth some days. If I ever had a home birth, I think I'd get myself a birthing stool. It's basically like a toilet. And it's got like an open, it's like a semicircle. And you sit down on that like you're sitting on the toilet. And then you can just, the midwife sort of gets underneath and catches the baby. Like, amazing. What? It was perfect. It was exactly what I needed to give birth in. Again, for some reason my body knew. Isn't that amazing? Like, your body knows what you're supposed to do. You don't have to be thinking about this. I mean, you can obviously have the mental battle going on in your mind that you can sort of control. But my body knew I needed a birthing stool. I didn't know they existed. I got a birthing stool. It was perfect, exactly what I needed. And that was all amazing. Did poop just a tiny bit. It's TMI. Didn't mind. I don't really care. I was a bit like, oh, that's not ideal. But you know what? They really don't care. And they didn't make a peep. They just cleaned it up and sorted it out. Do I put this in this video? I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to keep that in. But I gave birth on the birthing stool. All was good. And then, unfortunately, I started to lose a lot of blood. It kept pouring. I was getting weaker. I was getting more faint. But the doctors came in and they sorted me out very, very quickly. I lost about 1 litre of blood, which they do consider a hemorrhage. So I did hemorrhage, but they gave me the right tablets. They put me on a little saline drip. I still had skin to skin with the baby. The baby didn't leave me. It was all fine. I think we place a lot of emphasis on doing it kind of the natural way, but I do think that medicine is a good thing and that what they can do to help, like, it's a good thing. It's right that they try and help us. I do think that sometimes it's not always necessary and interventions aren't always the best thing. And yes, there is a system, and yes, they want to get you through the system, and all of these things that you hear, yes, could be true, but you know, when you're losing a lot of blood and you do need intervention, just take it, don't be concerned, just let them do what they need to do. So I did go from this kind of calming atmosphere in terms of the lights were low, like there were candles on, some soft music. The birth itself was very intense, but I went from kind of this soft lighting to like harsh lights, doctors running in, intense, come to fix me, come to fix mum. I didn't really know what was happening. My husband was a little bit nervous at this point, but it all was fine. It wasn't long till they'd sorted that out. Baby was fine, we breastfed really well, had a lovely time, had the best tea and toast in the entire planet post-birth. They gave me a stack of toast. They cared for baby really well, cared for me really well. Was overall really pleased. I had my second baby and did not realise how different labour could be. Was expecting exactly the same. So fast forward, only 13 months later, 13 months later, I gave birth to my son. I have done a video on what I needed in my hospital bag first time versus second time, because I took an unnecessary amount of stuff to the hospital for my first and didn't need it, so I thought I'd make it an interesting video for you guys to check out. That's obviously if you're in the UK. It is different for each person depending on where you are. So that was me in the UK, but I spoke a little bit about the difference in labour in this video. So I've got a 13-month-old baby. I'm about to give birth to my son. It's very different when you have to sort of care for a toddler, care for them. If you want tips on how to care for a toddler and a newborn at the same time, check out my video on that, because there are some treasure tips there. I'm not even just saying that, like, I genuinely think they are great tips, and I would tell any mum these tips. So go and check out that video if you are having a newborn with a toddler. But second time round, had a beautiful labour. Can you say that? I don't know. I mean, have I just forgotten? With Caleb, I had contractions that were low and slow, and they progressed. Now this labour was technically 24 hours. My first labour was 9 hours, so quite a lot longer in length. However, the 9 hours that I had with my daughter was like horrible intense pain, versus the 24 hours was a nice slow progression up to the last sort of 6 hours. So I knew from the start of this birth that I wanted to use hypnobirthing. I did use it for my first, and I found the whole process of it like actually really beneficial. However, the one that I used for my first baby was a little bit on the hippie kind of side. I'm a Christian, so I felt a little bit uncomfortable with some of the things that were happening in the hypnobirthing the first time. Kind of like seeing into the light and like the energy within, and it's like, oh yeah, but no. So I actually found a Christian hypnobirthing app which was recommended by Milena CCOT, the YouTuber. She's great. And so I got that for, it's like £2 for 6 months or £2 for 3 months or something like that. Anyway, it was amazing, and it was just like such a good thing to put into my ears during labour, before labour, like the whole process. I did not stop listening. Like my ears were kind of sore from my earphones while listening to this during my labour with Caleb. I just had her plugged in. She was plugged into my ears. I could probably recite it, every single word and every single like next bit of music that's gonna come. But it was my way of controlling things, and along with that I used the TENS machine. This is what I spoke about in my hospital bag video, like what to pack. This was an absolute necessity. I just borrowed it from my sister-in-law, so you can just borrow it. I will buy one for the next birth as and when, but it was the best thing in the whole world. So a combination of hypnobirthing and the TENS machine, I'm not sure if it just made my life a dream. Also from the first experience, I knew that I really didn't want to move. Like, I just knew that to be still and to focus on what was happening inside my mind was going to be the most beneficial thing I could possibly do. And so I plugged in my earphones. Like the first labour, my husband spent so many hours like counting to 8 with me to help me with my breathing. This time around, I just wanted it to do it all on my own. And I didn't really know that I wanted that, but that is what was happening while I was in it. I was thinking, no, I've done this before, only 13 months before, and I can control this. And I think it's the power of like the mind. It's really incredible, actually, although I did have different physical pains. So my second, anyway, I had intense pain in my belly and like the tightenings that they talk about. So when you have a contraction, it feels like your belly's sort of tightening together and just getting closer and closer together, and the baby's sort of descending, and again it's really tight. Back labour just felt painful all in the back. I felt nothing in my belly, literally nothing, nada, all in my lower back, which felt so much worse. I don't know if that was just a girl versus a boy. I don't know how these things work. But so with Caleb, I had a nice slow progression. A few hours pass, the pain increases. I'm in this beautiful birthing suite that they give me. Now, because I lost a lot of blood with my first and I hemorrhaged, I wasn't allowed to have a home birth, which is what I originally wanted. And I wasn't allowed to be in a birthing suite. So I had to be in a labour ward where they had a cannula in my hand, ready to pump me if I lost a lot of blood. All these things I didn't want, tried to argue it a lot, and actually just ended up going with it because I thought, really? I think that's okay. I can cope with a cannula in my hand. I wasn't plugged into anything. It was just a needle in my hand, which was fine in terms of pain compared to actual labour. I was in this labour suite that actually was better than the birthing suite I had first time around. It was just so pretty and relaxing and calm, and there was a huge pool, which last time I had a little bathtub. There was this huge pool, and I was feeling so bad because I so wanted to get into the pool, and I knew I wanted to try the pool again because last time I was in a small bathtub. I didn't have a lot of room in the pool in this tub, and this time was a big pool, and I thought I definitely want to get in there. But again, I listened to my body. My body did not want to. My body wanted to go on all fours on the bed, completely still, completely focused for those hours and hours of pain. headphones in. I didn't care if they tried to monitor me from that position. I did not care as long as I was still. Almost like someone touching me and moving my belly. Oh, I did not enjoy it. But they had to monitor the baby because, again, the baby's heart rate drops a little bit, so you do have to be a little bit careful. So I let them do all of that. At one point they were nervous, had to get a doctor in, don't remember why. I was just concentrating on being still and concentrating on my breath and the hypnobirthing and the TENS machine. Oh, it was such a dream. Again, time for pushing comes. And I thought, stool. I didn't know if I'd want it again. I honestly thought I'd have a water birth. I honestly thought I'd be in the pool doing what all the mums on Instagram do. I wasn't. I wanted to go on this stool, this mysterious stool that no one talks about. I said, get me a birthing stool. I said, I'm gonna get this baby out. And so I slowly slide back off this bed to sit on the birthing stool. I'm leaning forward and I'm breathing deep, and then I start to feel the contractions, the pushing, the real drop down, a ring of fire. It's all happening, but I'm still not saying a word. At one point I started to do those deep groans that they talk about when you're really starting to get into it, and then the little short breaths were really helpful. I think the midwife encouraged me to do that, it helps with tearing. I think it reduces the tearing. And so taking those breaths, learning about breath control is a big thing before labour. Breath control in general, I was a singing teacher before doing this as well, and breath control is huge in most areas of life, in times of stress, anxiety, sleep, labour. Breathing is just so essential to life. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that because it's random. So the baby comes out all fine. I don't hemorrhage. I lose a normal amount of blood. I think it was 50 to 100 mil, which is way less than my first. Kind of got the all clear. Stayed in the hospital for a while. Used all the bits and pieces that were in my bag. Check out my what's in my hospital bag video to find out about that. But just generally a beautiful birth. Obviously painful. Obviously all of the things yes, pain, yes, blood, yes. You feel like your belly's completely just dropped out once you've had the baby. Yes, you're in your adult nappies, you're uncomfortable. I didn't tear with my second, I did tear with my first. So you've got that pain to deal with, the stitches to deal with. There's so much to deal with. A C-section, I've never had a C-section. I'd be really intrigued on hearing about your experience if you've had a C-section. Even if you've not had a C-section, I love hearing labour stories. If I'm ever hanging out with some mums, I'm like, tell me all about it. I want to know everything. Tell me everything. I don't know why. I just find it so interesting. But anyway, so there are my two little birth stories. I could probably go into way more detail there, but I'm going to choose not to for time's sake. I don't want to waste your time. So I would say ways to help with back labour. I wish I'd have used a TENS machine. A TENS machine concentrates on the back. You stick little pads on the machine and you have a little remote and you can control when these pulses and vibrations and things are going to come through. I'll link the one that I used down below. It was amazing. Incredible. I think that would have really helped with my back labour. What actually did help me with back labour was, like I said, using a little comb, breath control. I literally got my husband for hours. He felt like a little clock, bless him. He was really tired from doing this, which is, labour, counting. I love him. He did such a good job. Was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Just constantly, literally for hours. Bless his little heart. He was faithful. He was very, very faithful. That really helped me. And then concentrating on the end result. This pain will not last forever. You will not, even if you are going through excruciating pain. Obviously I had a nice labour the second time in terms of it's feeling easier in pain. But if you're in so much pain, you will get to the end of it. You will not be giving birth forever. I can tell you that. It will end. It might be days, it might be hours, but it will end. And that really helped me get through that really excruciating pain. Knowing that there would be this little bundle of happiness waiting for me, and also the fact that I would not be in pain anymore. It's not going to last forever. Also, massive thing, huge statement that I just heard over and over and over and over again, and I said to myself in my mind, women have been doing this forever. Forever, literally forever. They have been giving birth. How amazing. If they can all do it, all of them, the whole of history, so can you. And your body knows what to do. It knows what to do. Your body is designed for it. It can do it. Praise God for the blessings of doctors and interventions when necessary and C-sections when necessary, etc, etc, etc. But your body was designed to do it and can. That statement helped me so much. Like, my body can take this pain. It can. It can. And it made me feel like a superwoman after. Like, I was like, I could do anything now. Literally anything. Do anything and I can cope. I'll cope. Another thing that helped me during my back labour was massage, getting my husband to really press in on the lower back and relieve some of that pain. So at one point I was leant over the bed, sort of belly stood up, bent over, leaning on the bed, husband behind, like pressing into the lower back, really putting quite a lot of pressure on, just to almost relieve the amount of pressure you're feeling in your low back. Like massage, gentle massage, calm music. It's so painful. I know you can get through it. Obviously you can do epidurals, you can do all of those things, but if you're not wanting to, I know you can get through it. Pressing on the back is going to be so helpful and such relief, and it's nice when we have back pain anyway for someone to just gently pat on our back. Although I did not want gentle, I wanted like a full-on press to really alleviate some of the pressure that I was feeling in my back. Okay, one thing that helped with my belly labour was, again, still the TENS machine. I'm faithful to the TENS machine. A comb, again, I'm faithful to that, really helped. And a huge part of my labour with my son, my second, was hypnobirthing. Now, not full-on hypnobirthing, but some form of like encouragement in the ears, positivity, calm music. All of those things are going to release certain types of endorphins that your body needs to get through this. We don't want to be in like stiff fight or flight mode. We don't want to tense up. We want to be able to relax. And it's all in the mind. You can wire your mind in a certain way. Trust me, I didn't know I could. I've let and did it. Okay, yes, and of course the deep breathing. Like real deep breathing techniques. Now, as I said, I was a singing teacher, so I do already know these techniques. If you haven't, there's loads of information online if you don't know. But deep breaths don't come, I'll just give you one tip. Deep breaths don't come in like this. You see everything's lifting and I'm getting more tense. They don't go. That is not the way to do it. Sorry, that was probably quite loud. The way to do a deep breath is, I'm actually just moving my stomach. My shoulders are dropping down. It's not in my chest at all, at all. It makes you way more tense. You need to concentrate it way down low. So as you breathe out, no, you breathe in, your belly actually expands, it gets bigger. It's not coming in like that. You're going. That really helped me. I hope that made sense at all, lol. I can explain a bit more if you need more on that one, because that was confusing. Oh, I've so loved chatting to you about my birth stories. I hope that was somewhat insightful, just a kind of real life, like, this is what I experienced with belly labour, back labour, contractions, slow progression of labour, intense labour, waters breaking, blah, blah, blah. I forgot to say my waters broke while I was pushing out my son the second time. First time round, that was the start of my labour process, was waters breaking. So again, every labour is so different, and I think it's so amazing that they're so different. Like, every person has such a different experience on this. And I think that's really interesting. So I would love to hear, have you ever experienced back labour? What did you do? Leave comments down below. I don't think it's talked about enough, but I do think it's definitely a thing that people need to talk about, because I had no idea what it was, never heard of it, didn't realise I was experiencing it until after, and until I had a different labour a year later. Let me know how that felt for you and what helped, and also if you experienced just an average normal kind of labor? What was that like? What helped you? Basically, what helped you guys get through this? Because us ladies want to know. We want to know everything you have got for us so that we can be as prepared as possible. I have had so much fun chatting with you guys today. I finished my cup of tea, which means that it wasn't too long of a video, I hope. It was just a cup of tea time. It wasn't too long. It was very chatty. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sorry if you were entirely bored. And that was they're my little stories for you guys. Kind of a fun video for me to film and for me to talk about. I love spending time with you. I think it's so much fun sitting here and talking to you, and I hope you enjoy it too. If you do enjoy it, please do subscribe and join this community if you love all things motherhood, home, just kind of like being a stay-at-home mum. If you love that and you are one, if you're not, if you used to be, if you want to be, join me. I'd love to have you here. I guess I kind of need to end. Go and sort the kids. It's nice having a tea together, isn't it? Thanks for being here. I will see you in the next one. I love hanging out with you. Join me next time. Ta-da, as they would say where I'm from. Ta-da, ducke. Ta-da, duck. Ta-da, duck is what they say. Let me know if you have any idea what I'm saying. I think some of you are in the United States, so you will have no idea what I'm talking about. But we like to say where I'm from, ta-ra, ducke. So, ta-ra, ducke. Catch you next time.